As we all know, the 5070 came out yesterday, and it sucks. Literally sucks. But besides that, Linus got his hands on the RX 9070, which is much better than the 5070, which everybody thinks, because the 5070 absolutely sucks. But yeah. So let's look.
Oh, Linus Sebastian is remoting in from Texas to present our next award of the evening.
And the least crap GPU of 2025 award goes to AMD.
So yeah, yesterday he was kind of on his video. Yesterday he kind of roasted the 5070. Not gonna lie, not totally, but he kind of roasted it. And obviously, we knew that this was gonna happen. AMD usually has the better GPUs for better price to performance, but nobody really cares because Nvidia is like Apple towards Samsung. Nobody buys Samsung, even though it's just as good. But you know, since Apple's it's like a fan company. Nvidia is just a fan company for GPUs.
For the Radeon 9070 XT. That's right, folks. After fumbling for years, AMD has finally figured out how to manufacture and price a GPU that will actually sell. And all it took for this to happen was for NVIDIA to slip on a banana peel, fall down an elevator shaft, and then have a piano dropped on it. As for the
we all know that the 5070 sucks.
9070 non-XT, it's also here. In all seriousness though, at $599 and $550, both of these cards are well priced, capable of both 4K gaming and actually good ray tracing, and even add AI-powered upscaling capabilities.
Yeah, we got upscaling and frame gen. I covered this in the last video, or two videos before that.
But
I mean,
as per AMD's long proud
you'll see
tradition,
it.
they also come with caveats like performance and productivity and power consumption. With that said, if they can stay in stock, I think we're going to be able to look past.
Even though we all know that the 5070 sucks, it's out of stock. It's out of stock. It sold out in the same time that the 5090 did, and the 5080, and the 5070 Ti.
Those little details toward a brighter future for gamers and a bright segue to our sponsor.
Okay, I'm just gonna skip this part. Yeah, there we go. So, test bench. The motherboard is Gigabyte. Processor, the 7800X30. Storage, but
Resolution gaming. So let's talk 1080p later and jump right into 1440p rasterization.
I understand that we all know that the thing is with the 9070 XT is it's almost doing as good as the 5070 Ti. Everything's the same, and that's $150 left. And AMD even acknowledged that it was gonna be 2% worse, which is actually good because that they acknowledged that. Unlike Nvidia, which said that their 5070 would be as good as their 4090. It's not unless you put on frame gen, which the 4090 is gonna get soon anyway. So it's never gonna be as good. And we can see that even though it's a few FPS, it's still getting 7 more FPS, and it's the same price. So overall, price to performance is better.
Where, wow, does the 9070 XT ever make NVIDIA look like a bunch of greedy buffoons? It nearly matches the performance of the RTX 5070 Ti
So yeah, The Last of Us Part 1. This is Ultra 1440p, so 2K.
While coming in $150 below the MSRP of that card, which of course is an imaginary price that no gamer has ever paid. Even the lesser known
Even though you're losing like 13 FPS for $150 for the same amount of VRAM too, that's still good. And in some games, it even matches it. And AMD said that there was going to be a 2% decline in the 90s. Oh, hey, never mind. I was talking about something else. My bad. But 138 to 132. So there's even going to be a 2% decline. And, and at least AMD acknowledged that. It does better than 40 Ti Super, which is $150 more, but since it's out of stock most of the time, since for scalpers. I mean 4070 Ti Super, my bad. Beats the 4070 Super. Also 5070 doesn't even beat the 4070 Ti Super. 118. Still that 1 FPS for the same amount of price is just, I know that doesn't make a real difference, but still, it's something more. And still we got 16 gigs of VRAM compared to 12, which to be fair, Nvidia always does skimp out of VRAM.
non-XT variant looks decent here, going blow for blow with the 5070 across all of our benchmarks. We even got the occasional clear win for AMD, like in Alan Wake 2, where the non-XT
So yeah, the 9070 even beats the 4070 Ti Super. 9070 XT even beats the 5070 Ti. I understand it's only 7 FPS, but still, like for $150 decrease in price, that's still good. Even if it's even if the 5070 Ti has 30 frames per second more, like 12 frames per second more, it's still a good deal. You're getting the same amount of VRAM at just a better
beats the
price.
non-TI by a whopping 17%. The only definitive loss for AMD in our suite was in Black Myth Wukong, where the TI beats the XT by around.
So yeah, it beats it around 4 FPS, which still is not bad for considering its price. I'm just looking for the, and still like the 5070, 42, 7 FPS more. Still, that's not bad for what it is. But okay, yeah, I don't know where the 9070 is. I don't think they did like the benchmarks.
Around
for
9%.
here.
But the second you factor in the price, AMD's
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's obviously better when you factor in the price cover $150 less. You could buy more RAM for with that money. You could probably upgrade RAM. Maybe a new PC case. So with that money, you're just saving on your whole PC build, which is you're only like losing 10 to like not even probably like at most like 20 to 30. I'm like most 20 FPS you're missing. Like you're losing, and that's for $150 price $550 price drop.
small L turns into a big W. In our Vulkan benchmark, Red Dead Redemption 2, we do see some worrying issues in.
But still, like the 9070 clearly beats out the 5070 by 12 FPS. And it's the same price, don't forget. And it beats out the 9070 XT. Beats out the 5070 Ti. And it's $150 left. So if the 5070 Ti was maybe like the same price as the 9070, then yes, well, then we wouldn't have these comparisons that obviously AMD this generation is better. But since it's $150 more and the 9070 XT is clearly beating it out in this example, the W just goes to AMD.
Frame pacing, where both of the new cards drop in ranking because of their poor 1% lows, despite solid average FPS, so hopefully this is something that AMD's team can work on post-launch. Overall though, we are off to a great start.
9070 XT, only losing 2 FPS for $150, that's not even that bad. 9070, oh, there's the 5070. 9070. Even though you're only getting like 7 more FPS average per game, it's still the same amount of money. So it's not like you're losing money on anything for getting 7 FPS, and you get more VRAM, which is it's obvious for Nvidia to skimp out on VRAM. It's what they do every generation.
The 9070 XT is a clear winner in performance and value, and as for the 9070, well, it's about as bad a deal as the RTX 5070, at least on paper. And we'll talk about.
Yeah, it is probably, but if you want to compare it to the 5070, it does as good as that. Even if it is, it's the same amount of price for just 16 gigs for 7 more FPS. It's not bad if you're comparing it. It's bad if you want to pay it for like that amount of money. But in this scenario, since we're comparing it, then yes, it is a bad deal. Some could say. I don't think so though.
Our theory as to why later. First, I want to talk about 4K, because unlike NVIDIA, AMD gave their 500.
Yeah, 16 gigs, so that's obviously going to help him in 4K.
$50 card sufficient VRAM for Ultra HD gaming. Sure, it's GDDR6 and not GDDR7, but faster memory is going to be irrelevant when you don't have the capacity to keep up, and there is no.
So yeah, we obviously see that the 9070 XT is beating out the 5070 Ti by 2 FPS for $150 less. It's only so it averages around 7 more FPS than the 5070. But if we're comparing, it probably is a bad deal. I think that you should go with the 9070 XT if you have like the $50 more, since it averages around 12 FPS more. But if we're comparing and you want to buy, if you're looking from an RTX 5070 or 9070, you should go with the 9070. Even though it's at 7 FPS, you still have 16 gigs of VRAM, and that's going to help you a lot.
No better illustration of this than the way that the 9070 extends its lead at higher resolutions.
That's all. So this generation, should you go with NVIDIA or AMD for the 9070 and 9070 XT, or the 5070 Ti and the RTX 5070? For the 5070 Ti or 9070 XT? 9070 XT. RTX 5070. RX 9070. But out of all of these, I would honestly go with the 9070 XT. Because the 9070 doesn't run, like, it's not a bad card, just for the price it is. And plus it's only $15 more to get better performance, better than a $750 card. So yeah. And then I just want to show one more clip.
Almost every PC builder
yeah.
is hating on Nvidia right now.
Yeah. Nvidia this generation isn't that good.
Rightfully so. Their RTX 5070 marketing strategy is the definition of false.
And basically what he goes on to say is that it's false advertising. And that's the definition of illegal. But there's nothing that we can really do about it. Unless we want to do a class action lawsuit. But you'd have to buy the card to do a class action lawsuit, even to know if it was false advertising. You'd have to buy both cards. So it's just not worth it to do that. So, yeah. Okay, bye. Don't forget